Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a topic that can honestly make or break a property manager's peace of mind. We're going to look at how to fundamentally shift your mindset away from just reacting to messy, stressful emergency repairs and instead build a structured, predictable, and highly proactive drain care routine. By the time we wrap up here, you're going to have a clear framework to drastically reduce tenant complaints and actually protect your property's plumbing infrastructure.
Let's start with a scenario I'm sure a lot of you know way too well. Are you just absolutely exhausted by those midnight plumbing calls? You know, the frantic messages about standing water, foul odors, or recurring backups? We've really got to acknowledge how incredibly frustrating and shockingly expensive these unpredictable tenant plumbing emergencies are. I mean, they disrupt your sleep, they completely drain your maintenance budget, and honestly, they damage the trust you've built with your tenants. But you know, it really doesn't have to be this way.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our playbook for today. First, we'll look at the reactive drain trap, then inspect and report routines, targeting common drain culprits, and safe and effective cleaning. Finally, we'll wrap up with seasonal and system triggers and lay out the escalation action plan.
Section 1. The reactive drain trap. So before we can fix our routines, we really have to recognize the trap of the old way of doing things. The reactive approach is, well, it's basically chaos. It means waiting around for a clogged sink to trigger a complaint, which almost always spirals into incredibly costly emergency repairs and elevated health and safety risks. On the flip side, the proactive approach is exactly where we want to be. This focuses on predictable maintenance cycles and documented checks. Catching those early warning signs doesn't just save you money, it directly improves tenant trust, because their concerns are addressed quickly and systematically, instead of in a state of total panic.
Moving right along to Section 2, Inspect and Report Routines.
This right here is the very first pillar of our proactive playbook, because effective prevention fundamentally begins with visibility. You simply cannot fix what you cannot see, and you definitely can't prevent what you aren't actively checking. To get that visibility, you need to schedule periodic inspections of your key drainage points. We're talking kitchen and bathroom sinks, showers, toilets, utility sinks, and hey, don't forget those outdoor drains and cleanouts. Train your team to listen for gurgling sounds, watch for slow flow or water pooling, and sniff out unpleasant odors before they turn into full-blown blockages. Catching these little quirks now prevents major health and safety hazards later.
But let's be real, you can't be everywhere at once. That's exactly why structuring how your tenants report issues is absolutely vital. You need a rock-solid tenant reporting workflow. Step 1, give them crystal clear instructions on what exactly they should be flagging. Step 2, teach them how to identify intermittent backups, recurring blockages, or standing water. And Step 3, actively encourage prompt reporting. When your tenants notify you faster, you're looking at shorter downtime and a massive reduction in the property damage you have to deal with.
Section 3. Targeting common drain culprits. Now, what's really interesting here is how we can mentally categorize the main threats to our pipes as the sort of antagonists of our story. Most preventable drain problems come from incredibly predictable materials. In the kitchens, the main villains are grease and food particles. They accumulate and literally narrow the pipes over time. The hero of this story? Simply encouraging tenants to never pour grease down the drain and installing basic mesh strainers. Now, in the bathrooms, the antagonists change entirely to hair, soap residue, and mineral buildup. But again, providing mesh strainers for showers and sinks is a brilliant, cost-effective defense, especially when you pair it with periodic flushing or professional cleaning.
Of course, we also have to factor in the building itself. If your property features older cast iron or aging PVC connections, you absolutely cannot rely on a standard maintenance schedule. These aging materials demand an increased maintenance frequency. They're just way more susceptible to wear and tear, meaning those everyday culprits we just talked about are going to cause severe damage much faster in older infrastructure.
Section 4. Safe and effective cleaning.
Even with the absolute best prevention, a clog is inevitably going to start forming at some point, and how you respond to it matters immensely. A lot of facilities highly discourage the routine use of harsh, aggressive drain chemicals. Why? Because they can physically eat away at and damage your pipes. They frequently worsen existing blockages by creating this solidified, gooey mess, and they generate hazardous fumes. Instead, you really want to rely on mechanical fixes, things like drain snaking or professional hydrojetting. These safely and effectively remove the accumulated debris without putting your plumbing or your tenants in harm's way.
Let's actually highlight one of those professional fixes for a second. Hydrojetting is a prime example of a safe mechanical solution.
It uses high-pressure water to basically scour the inside of the pipes, completely clearing out grease, minerals, and debris. It is incredibly effective, especially when chemical treatments are entirely inappropriate for the condition of your plumbing. It's all about relying on smart mechanics rather than harsh chemicals.
Section 5. Seasonal and System Triggers.
A truly proactive mindset recognizes that drain behavior isn't just static, it's a dynamic system that changes constantly. You have got to tailor your maintenance to the environment. For instance, heavy rainfall massively increases the risk of outdoor drainage backups. Colder winter months put intense stress on older plumbing lines, which can lead to freezes or breaks. And beyond the weather, you have to pay attention to your specific building's history. If a property has a known track record of frequent toilet backups or recurring slow kitchen drains, your maintenance schedule needs to be custom-tailored to target those specific problem areas.
And this brilliantly illustrates why camera inspections are so vital during your scheduled checkups, especially for larger properties. A camera inspection actually lets you confirm if a symptom is just a minor, surface-level localized clog, or if you're dealing with deeper, serious damage, things like joint separation or tree root intrusion. Discovering the hidden truth inside those pipes helps you prioritize the right repair, so you stop wasting money on endless temporary fixes.
Section 6. The Escalation Action Plan. We have to be totally realistic here. Even with world-class preventative care, incidents are still going to happen. So you need a strictly structured response ready to deploy at a moment's notice. Here is a precise 4-step escalation workflow. Step 1. Collect accurate tenant details immediately. Step 2. Verify if multiple units are affected. This instantly tells you if it's an isolated issue or a main line problem. Step 3. Determine the immediate risk of overflow or contamination so you can ensure safety. And Step 4. Dispatch the exact right specialist, whether that's a plumber, a specialized drain service, or your in-house facilities team, based specifically on the symptoms you've gathered. Now, woven into this entire process is one inescapable fact. Documentation matters immensely. Keeping meticulous service records, logging your inspection dates, and tracking your maintenance history, that is not just busy work. This data is absolutely essential for identifying recurring patterns across your properties. And, crucially, it actively supports your ability to accurately budget for long-term pipe rehabilitation when it's eventually required. So, the crucial takeaway here is beautifully summarized by this quote. Proactive drain care is ultimately about predictability, scheduled checks, tenant-friendly guidance, and maintenance choices that prevent buildup. By addressing issues early, before that quiet little gurgling sound turns into an ankle-deep puddle of standing water, you can fundamentally lower the odds of those nightmare emergency repairs.
To wrap things up, I want to leave you with a provocative thought, something to really help you evaluate your current operations. Ask yourself, are your property management routines actively preventing buildup? Or are you just sitting there waiting for the next midnight plumbing emergency to strike? It's time to take control, implement the structured strategies we walked through today, and transform your properties into predictable, well-maintained environments. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to start overhauling those plumbing strategies today.